Hey, what's going on, everybody? So the winter has definitely hit San Diego. It's 65 degrees, so it's pretty cold. So I go ahead and threw my jacket on, so I can go ahead and continue to work here. So the plan today is to do a few things. I'm not quite sure what's going to make it to the video, but I'm going to start off with pruning. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut up some of my California firewood, and then if time permits, I'm going to go ahead and take a trip to the San Diego Greenery and pick up some free mulch. At least I may not. We'll see if I add that one or not. It's definitely a great thing. So for San Diegans that are not aware, it's maybe not the best quality, but the free stuff isn't. However, there is some stuff that you can pay for, and it's still a lot better deal than going to your other store. But let me go ahead and show you the plan and the tools we're going to work with. All right, so in general, so I don't take you necessarily on step by step because that would really make this a very long video. What I'm going to be looking for when it comes to basically the stone fruit, so I have my peach and my plums, and then I got my peach trees. For these general ones, basically what I'm trying to do is create sort of a fanning of the branches. So I don't really want anything going up on the top, and I also don't want anything directly underneath. Well, first thing I do is I go ahead and I look for anything that's broken, and I remove those immediately. And then I go ahead and figure out how do I want this thing to shape. Like you can see, this branch here is kind of all twisted and everything. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe I won't. But it's also getting about the size that it's getting about to the maximum size that I want this tree to be. So maybe I probably won't necessarily work on the height of the tree this year, but who knows, maybe I will. We'll see what happens when I get to cutting. When it comes over here to the peach tree, it's pretty much the same thing. You can kind of already see, I've already had 2 years of sort of cutting on this, I should say pruning it. So you can see how it's kind of like, I got these branches fanning out this way, and this way. I got it fanning out this way. And then this little one down there is kind of fanning out in a different direction. So same principles. I don't really want anything coming out on the bottom and nothing directly coming up from the top. However, I may try to branch. I may try to grow the next level and see what I can do about maybe maximizing some fruit without sacrificing yield. But the quick tidbit is these ones right here where you have these little nodes about every half inch or so, every inch to half an inch. This is where I'm expecting to get peaches. This main one here where the nodes are spread out a little bit more, every, I don't remember, there is an actual size to it, but I don't remember what it is. But you can see they're spread out a little bit more, and you can see this dead one right here that's going to be removed. Right here on my fingers. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to keep working that. I'll definitely be taking a look for any of the suckers down below. Like I see a couple coming up right now. I'm going to go ahead and take care of those, like this over here. And then for the when I get to the citrus trees, it's not necessarily about creating them so they sort of fan out. It's just more about making sure that they are not cluttered, and I'm getting good airflow through it because they're a little bit more resilient. So that's going to be what I do with the lime tree, and actually it's going to be a little bit different for the Big Bertha. Let me tell you about that. So for the fig tree and for Big Bertha, I'm going to be doing a major chop. I got a couple things in mind. I'm probably going to just go ahead and think through it before I actually cut. But I'm going to be doing some major cutting to these because, as you can see, what I want to try to avoid is having to put a stilt on like we have here for when it's fruit production. And then also I would like to sort of, make space for anything else and possibly get it to so they can grow up, because the one down here, let me go ahead and zoom in. So that little stick right there just got it. That's a fig tree that I planted. I put that in the ground probably like 2 years ago, and it looks like it's finally starting to take root. Well, the roots are starting to take, and it's starting to grow. So I want to make some room for that thing to grow up too. It's just a different variety of fig, so that when that begins its fruit production, we'll have an additional variety of figs here. Just basically trying to make do with the space that I got. And the same thing for Big Bertha. I'm going to be doing a major cut. Probably won't be necessarily worrying too much on the thinning in the areas, other than I'm going to be doing a couple major cuts. Mostly to go ahead and create sun for the avocado tree so that the sun isn't being blocked by Big Bertha. And then also I'll be considering, as I was showing, this thing really starts to droop down. And I got some other branches that, when I'm mowing the lawn, as you can see, I've done that today. Did that earlier. That I'm going to go ahead and, maybe move some of these things. So yeah, I'm probably going to remove some fruit production, but, definitely just making things a little bit more, not necessarily aesthetic, but ergonomic when I'm doing random yard maintenance around the house, so I don't have to necessarily disco limbo under it. With the pomegranate tree, I'm just going to be looking, not going to be doing too much to it. Anything that's going down, I'm going to go ahead and trim off, and then looking for anything that's broke. I just want to kind of, I don't want to say necessarily inspire, but promote the growth that's just kind of going up and growing strong branches, so that when the pomegranates, which are fairly heavy fruit, start to weigh on it, that it's in a good strong position to withstand the additional weight when fruiting. I'm not going to touch any of these, and actually the last thing I am going to be touching is the grapevine. So on every grapevine, I'll show here at one of the close ones, I'm basically going to go 2 nodes. So I'm going to go, let's see here. So every one of these are a node. So you can see a node here, and see if you guys can see it. There's a node up here. Actually, it's probably better to show right here. There's a node here and a here. I'm going to basically be taking them down to just the 2 nodes. So for this particular one, I'm probably going to cut here and cut here and just have basically this node and this node. This might be an extra one too, but I'm going to go ahead and just let that be. So I try to get it down to 2 nodes if it makes sense, but if it seems like I need to have a third one just based on the growth and how it came out, then I'll go ahead and do it. So for each length, I'm going to basically, looks like I'm going to find the longest one on each end and keep that going, so it keeps growing every year, because this one's almost here to the end where I want it to be. However, on this one, we'll come on down. This one that actually looks like it's hanging here appears to be my longest one on this end. So I'm going to promote the growth on this one and just put it up there and cut and trim every other one down. But I have to double check. So we'll see what happens when I get to that point. Now, in order for me to execute my plan today, I have a few tools for most of the pruning. I'm going to be using my Velcro number 7s, which need to be sharpened and cleaned up. I'll be straight up. These are expensive. These are expensive set, but I was spending probably 20 to $30 about every year, or almost less than 2 years, a little over a year, replacing them, because the regular ones I was getting from like Home Depot or whatever, they just weren't lasting. So I went ahead and invested, and I've had these now for about 3 years, and they're still going. I keep them sharp, and I keep them have like some lubricant to just keep everything in order, and they haven't let me down. Besides the feel of them, they're just you definitely get what you pay for, so I'm using the Velcro 7s. And then for the major chop, I definitely don't have any Velcro things for the major cuts, but just got my regular DeWalt rip saw here to go ahead and get through the trees. Some people I know are not going to recommend doing this because it's probably too abrasive of a cut, but that's what I got, and I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so I got a plan in place. Now it's just time to send it. All right, that's going to go ahead and end the pruning. Let me just kind of show you where everything's end up. You can see just kind of doing some cleanup on this side is the plum tree, this side is the peach tree. I didn't want to take off too much. I was taking sort of a different approach on this one since it is a grafted tree. I didn't want to I can't necessarily fan it out like I normally would if it was just coming out from the base. So I just did what I could to kind of clean it up and get some more airflow and get some light onto the leaves. I'm trying to clear out the center the best I can, and then just went with that. With the peach tree, was able to get a little bit more to how I want it. Heck, there's probably, as I'm looking at it now, I know it's kind of hard for you to see because of shading. I do apologize for that, but that's just the time of the day. I don't get much. I might actually come by and clean up this side a little bit more. I'm seeing some things I want to get at. But for the most part, I got it sort of each one fanning out, and hopefully going to be able to get some, like I said, sun and air on this one. Just a little bit of cleaning on the lime tree. Just kind of going in there where there was maybe 3 or 4 just kind of branches sort of growing out of the same place. I just went in there and cleared a couple of out. There were some dead ones in there too that I just cut off, but not too much on this one. If not obvious, I'm resetting on this fig tree. I just kind of want to redo it and get it growing the way I want it to grow. And especially so that I can basically have both of these growing the way I want both of those to grow. So also chopped down Big Bertha pretty well also, and I kind of wanted, to be honest with you, go ahead and cut off this back one too and just have this front one be the dominant one, or the majority, if not all of where the fruiting takes place. But I do like guava kombucha, so I didn't want to necessarily take away all my production for an entire year. It will grow back pretty fast, and I know I would have guava probably within about 2 years, but still I didn't want to be down on the production. And then just coming around and finishing up, definitely not too much on the pomegranate tree as I'm coming around Big Bertha here, well, at least with the parts that I cut. Not too much on the pomegranate tree. Any ones that are the branches that were kind of bending down, then I went ahead and just cut those off. And really that was about it. If it seemed like any of them were kind of growing in towards the center, I cut those out just again so it's kind of growing outwards and allowing more air and light into the inside of the tree. I almost forgot to show you that show you with the finished product on the grapevine here. You can see, let me go ahead and zoom in on a couple of these real fast that I'm going a little more. Whoops. You know, they got the 1, 2, and there's a third one kind of right there, but I kept that on there and I just did it as it is right there. Just so I could kind of hold on to the wood here and kind of keep it in place. Later I'll go ahead and put some weight down at the end to basically make sure it keeps pulling that way. Now let me show you this lesson learned real fast. So over here I was cutting towards the center to where the main sort of trunk goes up and comes up and spreads about. Well, this long one right here, as you can see, if I wanted to cut that, I would have been able to drag it all the way past the edge here, but I couldn't see it because unfortunately it was on top of the awning, or the pergola here, or the patio covering, and I was unable to, I couldn't see it. So I cut it, and then as I was pulling it, I realized I made a mistake. So lesson learned, next time I'm going to go ahead and go up to the second floor, look down and see if any of them next year will get me across. Yeah, lesson learned, you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so if I put this part in the video, I'm going to get you the reaction of my wife and my mother-in-law as they come out and see the major chops. They hate when I do major chops on the tree. They like when they gets back to fruiting, but they hate when I do it. So I'm going to set you guys up set the camera up so they can hopefully see the reaction, and then we'll go from there. So I may not always have the best video or audio, but remember, I'm trying to be a little sneaky, so please bear with me.
No, qué pena. It's not funny.
So after talking with my mother-in-law, she wanted me to actually do a little more cutting, which was cool. Go here. She was actually hoping to turn these 2 branches into something, but which I don't. And I can see that. But at least the reason why I did, for right or for wrong, I just didn't want anything impeding on the avocado tree, because this is avocados are very expensive. And the guava tree, it just produces crazy amounts when it gets going. So I wanted to prioritize the avocado tree over some of the guava growth that was going this way. But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and end it because got a few appointments got to do this afternoon, and I'm not going to bother you. What I'll be doing off camera is basically dissecting, disassembling all the major branches from the big branches, getting out what firewood that I can, and then I'll be just taking the leaves off and probably turning that to mulch of some sort, or maybe, I'm not sure without my chipper shredder right now. It's kind of hard to turn this into mulch, but we'll see what we can do. I'm unsure quite what I'll do right now, but come the next video, I'll let you know. All right. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.